Maddie. So in order to get interviews for most companies, it's really important to have a resume that stands out. Do you think it's okay to embellish your resume? For example, saying you possess MATLAB as a skill when realistically you would need a very big refresher in order to proficiently use the software. And then the second part is, how do you ensure that if you are offered a job, that you don't fall completely short of the expectations you set for yourself?
Okay, so hi, my name's Maddie, and my question is basically talking about when you're getting a job, is it okay to embellish and say that you have more skills on your resume than you can? I think it's really important to be honest. You can say you have used MATLAB and you have had experience with these, but I think during the interview process, if you get to that point, it's important to kind of share exactly how much experience and how proficient you are with it. Most companies, if it's important for you to be able to use that software, such as like SolidWorks or Design, they have training programs in it that are like 2, 3, 4 weeks long if it's something that you need for your job, and if it's something that they can train you on really quickly. I don't think saying that you know it but aren't super proficient at it or need a refresher is anyway just gonna keep you from getting the job if they do have a training program, such like that. When you do get to a job, if you are underqualified, I think that was what you said.
Yeah, like
so you don't fall behind. I think it's important to ask for help. They know you're new grad or you're newly into this job, and most of the time you're given a mentor or someone to guide you, and I think it's important to use that. I think we all know going through engineering school that it's not something that you can do alone. We study together, you study in groups, group projects. Being an engineer by yourself is kind of destined for failure. You need communication, you need to be able to talk to and kind of be lifted up by other people. They have been in your position, they've been trained in your position longer than you've been working there, so they have a lot of advice that they can give you. So I think it's very, very important for every step of the way, especially when you're in a new job, to continuously ask questions. I know any of us who have had internships have been through that. You kind of go in from school. I think we can all agree that in school you learn how to learn and how to be disciplined, but you don't necessarily learn things that you're exactly going to be using in work. You learn a lot of the knowledge in jobs on the job, not in school. So it's important to ask questions to your supervisors and people who are specialized in that department instead of just kind of trying to figure it out by yourself, because while yes, you probably can figure it out by yourself, learning and watching YouTube videos as we have taught ourselves in classes, it would be done a lot faster if you ask someone who's been working in the field for 5 years. They could probably explain it in a lot easier way. Also, each company does something differently, so they'll be able to explain it to you exactly how that company does it without you having to spend a lot of extra time, especially if you have deadlines. You'll spend less amount of your deadline time trying to figure something out if you can just ask someone who has a quicker answer for you. Yes.
Just to clarify, so you do think it's okay to embellish your resume? Like, as long as you're
I wouldn't say embellish, like I wouldn't lie and be like, I'm proficient or I'm very spectacular in MATLAB if you know you're not. If you know you can't sit there and write a whole code for a program, I wouldn't say that you're proficient in it, but I know personally I'm not proficient in MATLAB, but I have used it and I could, with a couple training sessions, pick it up pretty easily because I do know the basic language behind it. So I think it's okay to say that you've used it, you have experience with it, but not necessarily that you're like proficient or an expert at it. So I think there's limits to the extent that you should say, but having those words on there I know looks really good. So being able to say that you've used it, I feel like is just as helpful as saying that you're proficient in it. But I wouldn't like lie and be like, I can design a whole building in SolidWorks when you can make like a tube, like I can. So yes.
So if you, let's say you're applying to a job, something that you're really interested in, you think you might like a lot. When you get to the online application and there's the skills section, but it doesn't actually have a room for you to say like how proficient you are. Right, so do you think it's okay to kind of say, maybe you use MATLAB like you said, but you're not great at it. You think it's okay to list it as a skill to be sure that you don't get eliminated from contention just because you didn't have this one word on your application, they don't even know you, and like you can explain further in the interview, or should you kind of leave that off because it's not really a skill?
Me personally, I would put it in there because I think you always have a better shot being able to explain yourself verbally, and I mean they have just as much of a chance to turn you down in the interview as they do in the resume process. So if your answer of how proficient you are in the interview doesn't meet their qualifications, then they can turn you away then. But I think if it doesn't give you a chance to explain it in the online application, I would put it personally just so you can have a chance to explain yourself. in the interview, because odds are a lot of them coming in didn't have the knowledge. So I think having that shot is important. James?
This question is based on the second part of the
Okay.
question that you received. So you go in, I guess, what if you're hired, you're not necessarily like a new graduate, but you don't know exactly what's going on with the job yet. How do you portray yourself to like subordinate to people that like work for you and kind of splitting the difference, like still asking questions, but still people looking up to you